Alright, welcome back. This is M-Dog. And we're actually at Volkhov today. It's been a while since I've done any trolling, and I've been seeing in our chat channel, which is called My Dogs, MY space DAWGS, if you want to join us. But I've been seeing people recently doing okay, both at Quarry and Volkhov trolling. I've trolled Quarry more recently than I've trolled Volkhov, but I wanted to kind of test it myself. I've looked on the weeklies for our two main lines to see what seemed to be working the best, and it looks like the Dodger cranks, and I'll show you what we're using here in a minute. I think we'll be able to pull this right in. I also am using an ultralight as the third one, which always can get you in trouble, especially here at like Volkhov. I mean, the wrong Atlantic salmon gets on there and you're in for a really long chase. But let's let a little more line out on this one. But we're using the Dodger crank SS003. And this one's got a fish on. I think this is the same model of Dodger crank, but it's the O2. One thing I will say, it's probably worth changing. There's a salmon. It's probably worth changing at nighttime if you're going to troll through the night, which sometimes it's better just to go fish for bream or something at night. But if you are going to troll through the overnight hours, the problem with these Dodger cranks is you can hook into catfish, which I did. It was only 13 kilos, so it wasn't too bad, but just know that because those cranks are going down to the bottom or down low, they're more likely to get, if you use like hunter lures or something at night, dark colors, you might still probably have less bites than during the day, but you might still catch some of the fish that you're more likely going for here. So I wanted to make this video using my steelheads, but I noticed that both of my steelheads needed to be repaired. Yeah, it looks like we are catching salmon here. Someone had told me like F2 to F4 was a good place to start in terms of trolling right now at Volkhov, so that's kind of what we're doing. We're just going up and down at F2 and F4. So I ended up putting steelheads in the workshop to get repaired. But I'll tell you, I'm still using the same setup. Like, this is the line that I would have used with a steelhead. I would have used 17.4 fluorocarbon. So it's basically the same setup. I just have different reels on there. Same with this one over here. I would have used this same line and leader. So the steelheads are just more affordable than these reels that I'm using here. So I was going to show that because it's a little... unless you've been around as long as I have, you might not have collected some of the more expensive bait casting reels yet. You can certainly overload steelheads a lot more than that, but I was just going to start with 17.4 to see what the bite rate was like on fluorocarbon 17.4. Going to, what was our line, like almost 18 kilos basically. That's just like overloading the steelheads a little bit. I think the steelheads have some pretty decent hidden strength. So I don't feel like we are doing too much overloading there. Hoping to catch asp and salmon. This is a perch. Would be our main two goals here. Yeah, this is 17.7 line, so that seems very reasonable for a steelhead to me. And if you start really hooking into the big salmon, you could overload a little more, I guess, and see about that. So we'll go down into this F2. Other spots you may want to try for trolling here. I mean, you can troll all the way. You can see there's a lot of deep areas in between the three islands, sort of the triangle here. That's often been a good place, and then even out into here, down into D6, C7, and B8 are places worth looking for trolling as well. Sometimes back in the day you would make this corner down, I mean this sort of this whole big, if you really want a big place to troll. But if people are saying that F2 to F4 is particularly good, and you want sort of a smaller place to be able to focus, if you're getting pretty good bites, it might be worth doing that as well. I would also give the advice with trolling, though I haven't done this in a while. I did do it back in the day a good bit, and I think it's always been the case that if you don't have a bite for a while, even if you're using lures that you know have been working based on looking at the weekly, it's always a good idea to switch lures. I mean, you never know when, just with the weather, temperature changes, if something might work a little better than something else. In fact, in a minute here, I think we'll take one of these off and maybe try a hunter lure just to see. It's nice and sunny. See what's working there. I don't really know if there are any. Oh, we've just started over with the weeklies, haven't we? Wait, is that right? What have I done here? Have we just started over? Oh, I guess we did. It's Sunday. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And that's right, so we won't have weekly notifications for a day or so, just so that you're not overwhelmed with them. But, oh, there's a zebra mussel. That's cool. That doesn't help in terms of giving you good information, though, does it? All right, let's turn this zebra mussel into a bait while I'm thinking about it. I think we're going to go down a little farther into this triangle area. Not all the way, but down in there a little bit, see what things look like. Right now we are getting pretty consistent bites. So if the pike starts showing up down here, we might want to avoid this area just for that sake. Let's see what this is. Let's give us an idea. It's a nice asp. Yeah, we really want to get on the asp as much as possible. Perch. Gone almost all the way down here. All right, I think what I want to do. So that's us trolling here using the basically steelhead level setups. But what I want to see is if the bite rate dies down dramatically using a little stronger setup. Because if you're going for these big salmon, it would be nice to have a little more power. But you don't want to sacrifice your bite rate too much. So let's go with the Armada. Oh, I'm also going to have to take those rods off. And that's why I was going to use the steelhead so that these could already be set up. But so we're using the steelness and the billionaire. My billionaire actually needs to be repaired as well. But that reel is expensive to repair, and so I just haven't done it. So we're going up to 22.5 kilo fluorocarbon now. And just for the comparison's sake, for now, let's just keep these same lures on there. All right, we're good. Because they don't cast very far, I do like to cast these pretty far. All right, so the billionaire, let's go with 22.8. What do we have that would? Yeah, so 22.5. I don't like how long it is necessarily, but I don't know. I don't think that'll hurt. Oh wait, we've got the wrong. I guess we could do the 21. Yeah, that one's long too. I've got these long leaders I've made for trolling at, where was that back in the day, or not that long ago, but let's see. That was for, is that the right one? Yeah. That was for at Octuba. The long leaders seem to really work nice. Alright, so we're trolling again. And let's see if we can still get a decent bite rate. So we haven't increased the strength that much, but we have given ourselves, 4 or 5 more kilos. It'll help, and if we hit into one of those nice Atlantic salmons, you'll be able to definitely tell a difference. But I'm just more curious about bite rate. I mean, we've had pretty constant bites. And sometimes that 17 is sort of dialed in, but let's see how this is feeling. That's a pike. So because we have fluorocarbon leaders, we are running the risk of having a pike bite through this. But it doesn't always happen. But if you do this long enough and you're into the pike like we are right now, it will eventually happen. Bite rate is great right now, though. Unfortunately, it's just a lot of pike and perch down this far. So we'll see when we get back up into the J2 to J4. If that is still the case. So once we get here, we're in, sorry, F4. We're almost to F4 now. We want to go up towards 7.5 down there, up there in F2. This is something tiny. Nice little asp. We have another bite on the other one. The bites right now are constant. So I'd say increasing the strength on the line does not seem to have affected the bites. We'll see when we get up into the salmon area if we're still getting salmon bites. I was going to put the ultralight back out, but as you can see, the bite rate right now really doesn't allow for ultralight fishing. Which, that's great. I mean, we love having that problem. There's a bigger pike. Yeah, I would stay out of the pike area. These are pretty expensive lures. Got maybe some bait fish, perch. That one was too small, but that other one might have been okay. Alright, so we want to kind of go, I'd say just like northeast a little bit across these squares, something like that. Let's see if we can find the salmon again. Especially if you're looking to level up your spin fishing, this is a good way to do it when the bite rate's pretty good. And also have a pretty good chance of making some silver if you can hit some nice asps and salmon. And I think Corey's been pretty good silver lately too doing trolling. So some good trolling options now for our spin fishers currently in, with bite rates. I think we ended up spending about, about 1,000 or maybe 800-900 silver getting our steelheads repaired, and they'll be repaired in a couple days. But we've made a lot at, oh, can't do that. We've made a lot at Amber over the last 24 hours, so I don't mind getting some repairs done. All right, there we go. Curious when they will announce what the weekly fish is. I just could not bring myself to going after frogs last week. I just wasn't feeling it. So I guess it's not updating. I don't know, weeklies are weird. When it first resets. Yeah, I don't know. All right, we've got a couple little fish on it, looks like. Okay, hopefully we're back up in Atlantic salmon waters. I was a little worried that having 2 of these Dodger cranks on might not be like a fast enough bite rate, but it actually seems like it's been pretty good. And on the ultralight, we're using one of these Aquila, whatever they're called, spinners, which have always been really good. The Aquila 4-gram 004 is what we have on now. I like those a lot for ultralight. Of course, if you look at the ultralight records, you can tell a lot of people that are hitting those records are overloading. I mean, are putting really heavy lures on ultralights and stuff, and that's fine. Living on the edge, I guess, but sounds like a little bit of a pain to me. All right, we'll straighten this up now and go just kind of straight, mostly straight north, all the way up to the top of this square. Oh, I guess the frog competition's still up for 6 more hours, 6.5 more hours. The slowdown probably has to do with time of day more than anything. It should pick back up. That sounds like a nice one. Hopefully. Looks decent. There we go. That's what we're looking for. A little perchy up here maybe. And I think people are still making some money at tuba trolling. So there really are a lot of good trolling options. I want to keep pushing forward slowly but surely on our spin fishing. Get to 90%, which we're at 82, but that's actually going to take quite a while just as the percentages don't pop as often. But if we did this during happy hour, that would help. Does that one have a small fish on there? Nope, that's got something on there though. Yeah, so there's definitely salmon in the water here. It's just finding the big ones. Pretty nice chub. Whoa. Just don't be a pike. So if you haven't done this before, when you have a decent fish on, if you're using smaller gear, steelheads even, but certainly smaller than steelheads, you'll have to do this a lot. You got to learn how to sort of chase the fish with the boat. And the big thing is, I'm going to go ahead and stop the engine now, but the big thing is you don't want to run over the fish with the boat. It's a good way to lose the fish. So you kind of want to circle it with the boat, get close enough where you're keeping the tension up and getting closer and closer to reeling it in as it gets tired. But if you run over the fish, the line will often get slack in it, and oftentimes you'll see the fish pop off in that moment. It looks like a pretty nice salmon. I do have a Discord page. You're welcome to hang out in there. I think there's a fishing channel in there. Folks want to be chatting with each other. I think it'd be fun if we did more with the Discord page. If people want to start posting spots or pictures, I can start making other spaces in the Discord channel for that. Probably the easiest way to get into the Discord channel is go to my Twitch page, which is just at MDog Gaming. If you type !Discord into the Twitch channel, you should get the link to Discord from there. This is an interesting question. Should I go to Bear Lake to make some money or stay at Old Berg? Depends on gear, I would say, and just personal preference. But I'm going to ask this person what their reel sizes are. I mean, if you've got, alphas or around that size reels, then yeah, go have some fun at Bear. And there's been some really nice spots lately at Bear. It'd be worth trying. Kind of change it up. Try to get some carp fishing done. You can also go for tench and golden tench and stuff there as well. If you've got less than that, some people make it work with like the Saber range, Saber 60 or slightly less than that, but that's going to be a workout, if you start hooking into big carp. So, but it doesn't hurt to try. Woo! So if the answer is your reels are 5.5 size, I would stay at Old Berg. It may be frustrating to fight carp on that size. in my opinion. And it's not that people haven't done that. I mean, it is possible, but it is, I think it could be a frustrating experience, though, unless someone really is up for the challenge and kind of knows how to make up for the fact that you're so underpowered. Nice tench or gibble. Yeah, you don't really want to... in most cases, tench and gibble are better at Oldberg, unless you hear tench are really on fire at bear. There is also barbel at bear, but hard to avoid carp, and that's the problem. If you're not ready to catch the carp, it's hard to avoid the carp at bear. You could use smaller hooks. You can try to use baits to just target the tench slash barbel or whatever, smaller stuff, but you're going to end up hooking into carp in most cases. And really the tench fishing, if you can find some good spots, tench fishing can be really good at Oldberg. Sometimes they're good at mosquito, or decent at mosquito as well. I don't know. I personally wouldn't recommend someone go with 5.5 reels and try to make it work at bear. Bear, like amber, is primarily for carp. Even last night, I was Wrangler and I were talking, and it was like somebody had caught a trophy golden tench at bear, and it was like, well, you know, do you take your Boonisons out and really try to target the golden tench? Well, ultimately, it's just not worth it, because you're gonna end up hooking into carp, and if you've got the gear to catch carp, you might as well have that gear out, and then just try to get the golden tench at the same time. I should have looked at what I was at spin fishing at the very beginning of when I started trolling here, but I don't think we've gotten any points. We certainly haven't gotten much. And we've had really active bites, so as you can tell, it just takes a while. What to use at Oldberg just depends on what you are targeting. All right. So we'll troll just for a little bit longer. We want to get to about, time-wise, to about maybe 8 p.m., 8:30, something like that. And then we'll just see how we've done silver-wise, see if there's any orders. That looks like a very small chub. Let that go out a little more before we... Are we not trolling right now? I must have stopped it on accident. So someone was saying yesterday in chat that the red boat that we're in now trolls at a little higher speed than the gray one. I didn't know that. If that is the case, I did not know. I knew that obviously the top speed was faster. Anyway, they were saying they were having better bite ratio with the red boat versus the slower one. So I guess keep that in mind. I don't know that to be the case, but I haven't done a lot of this lately, so that might be the case. In terms of good gibble carps or tench at Old Berg, I'm just not sure, like, at the moment, but I'm suggesting this person, maybe they could ask in chat if anybody has been doing that lately and knows of a good spot. If it's so we'd rather this be an asp, but this is a salmon, I think. Small one for that size. Really, if you can get in some of the higher sizes on the asp, they're really nice silver. Fun fish to catch. Alright, let's turn around here a little quickly so that we're not, so that we're in sort of this same place we've been trolling at for the last couple minutes of our trolling time. The perch love it when we speed around like that. Asp do too, apparently. $47.20. Woo! Sounds promising. Again, though, it'd be better to be an asp at this size than a salmon. It's a salmon. Seems like the salmon are just biting really well right now. That's great. This is kind of your prime time fishing time. I mean, it's not unusual to get a couple really nice catches around this time in the early evening. So it sounds like Corey's doing really well right now as well. We'll see if I feel like trolling more later. We could go try Corey as well. We'll see. Corey's a little easier to, I mean, it's really not that hard to do this here, but both places I would say it's pretty nice to like troll during the day and then set up for either bream or burbot, according to where you are and what's active at night. So kind of already having your feeders ready to go, so all you have to do is equip them and jump right into bream or burbot fishing to fill in some of that time. To me, trolling's not always worth it at night. Even if you are getting a couple bites, it slows down enough that if you can go just like take a break on the land and, you know, make 75 silver or something on a few bream or whatever, it's a nice way to supplement it. I also kind of feel like trolling it's sometimes like RNG based. Like we've had some decent ones during this session if you sort by weight, but you know, we've also had some non-markers, and so if you kind of have an unlucky day where you don't catch too many nice ones, then make some silver at night and get ready to go for the next day. You know, hopefully have a better day the next day. There's another salmon. They're just really active right now. It's really nice. It's really nice. This is an interesting fish here. We are definitely at risk of hooking into a catfish as we... Oh, is that a nice asp? I love these asp. 4 kilo asp. And we did finally got a point in spin fishing. All right. So, and that's good advice coming from Durr, who's done this a lot more than I have. He's just talking about how often he is switching lures, and that's really smart. You know, he's saying he's going to the DP cranks as well, and Fabrique is saying that you can catch a lot of asp on the humpy. So these are all things that I would want to try, and that's why it's so nice to talk to people who have done it a lot recently. I can show you one of these humpy wobblers. I know I have 1 or 2 of them somewhere. I thought I did. Oh, here's one. Siberia humpy. Yeah, here's 3 of them right here. Pike. You can tell we're getting close to shore here. Whoa. One more salmon for the road. All right, let's see how we did. You know, it's been a while since I've done this, so I'm curious to kind of see how it adds up. After I stop the video, I probably will turn some of these into fish pieces. But let's check the cafe, and then we'll just get an estimate on silver. So, oh man, Would I have kept that zebra mussel? Was it from 80 grams though? I don't think it was. So it's really, all of the orders right now are very bottom feeding centric. Not many spin fishing orders right now, but. So 313 silver. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so there's trolling at Volkhov. Just want to kind of update how it's doing. I've seen a lot of people catching those salmon, and sure enough, they seem very active. And I would be curious to try a couple other wobblers as well as maybe a hunter, see if we can get a little bit more dialed in on some asp as well. I guess let's look at the prices per types of fish here. So let's sort by weight. So 27 silver for a 4 kilo asp, and it just really goes up from there as you catch nicer one. 36 silver on the 7 kilo salmon. So that's why I guess it all adds up, is these are just, these are nice fish for silver. Okay, thanks for watching. If you've been trolling Volkhov and have some good advice for the community, please let us know. And I will see you next time. Thanks again.